what a lot of people run into, Brett, and for the young listeners out there, they build a wholesale company and it's great and they're making money. But we got to remember wholesaling income is treated as earned income. So it's highly taxed. And then when you're taking your profits from your wholesaling business, using it to hire people, using it for more marketing to bring in more wholesale deals, it can turn into a hamster wheel really quickly.
Yeah.
So, and then you get a big tax bill at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, it's about flipping properties, but not getting so comfortable to where you build this wholesaling machine and then you never start acquiring assets because you're so comfortable flipping. But really, it's just a giant hamster wheel. And then when the party stops, you're left with nothing.
Yeah.
Because you can it's a wholesaling business. And you know very well, you own a massive wholesaling business. It's not a saleable business. So
Mhm.
you cannot give this wholesaling business to, you can't sell the company. It's not like an auto repair shop where you have a book of business that you
Mhm.
built and then you sell it to another entrepreneur who's going to step in and take over those customers. We don't have repeat customers in a wholesaling business. The only repeat customers are not the sellers, because we're generating these seller leads, but a seller is not going to be a repeat customer. Maybe you get a referral once in a while. The only repeat customers in a wholesaling business are your buyers, but they don't care about you whatsoever. They're just going to shop the best. They're not loyal to you, like we're only going to buy to you. They're going to buy the best deal that they possibly can get their hands
Yeah.
on. But you got to keep in mind, wholesaling is not a saleable business. It's not a transferable business where you're going to give it to your daughter or son here, and it's this book of business. No. So it is simply a tool, and it needs to be treated in that way to generate cash flow and liquidity that you can use that liquidity to get good terms on money to start acquiring cash flowing assets. That is the play.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I actually learned the hard way. I mean, I was always a big flipper, big wholesaler, built this massive wholesaling company, like you said, Dave. But then you're right. I mean, I get this massive tax bill and I write this $100,000 check to the government and I'm like, man, like what if I could keep that $100,000? And I started asking my accountants and CPA. I said, hey, how do I keep this $100,000 instead of paying it to the government? Because yeah, this is $100,000 now today, but what if I held that $100,000? What's it going to be worth in 20 years? I mean, that's what we're talking about. And that's how you build massive wealth. And they said, well, you buy rentals and you buy assets and you play the game. And that's exactly, I love what you said about that tax break. Sometimes I've been really big on that right now about saving money on taxes, because that's, you're going to be every business owner's biggest expense.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be if you play the game. And it's about, buying cash flow rentals. So it's all, obviously you get this cash flow rentals, but you save so much money on taxes. So I love what you said on that, Dave. So I want you to talk to the other. So let's just go back. So you're talking about having an active business, having a passive business. Your partners with RJ, and you see a lot of young people. I'm sure a lot of people reach out to you. They kind of follow you. You're very active, like I said, on social media. You got your YouTube channel going now. You're driving in the car, and you're talking to a lot of young people. Plus, we're in some mastermind group. We're in a Collective Genius, the mastermind group together. There's a lot of young 20-year-olds in there.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you see young people do that you're like, oh man, that's not gonna work. That's a mistake. Like, what do you? So talk to the young people. What are some of the mistakes you're seeing those 20-something, 30-something-year-olds making?
It's an excellent question. And for your listeners, just to put a lid on our last topic, the tax benefits that we were talking about from owning rental properties. This is called accelerated depreciation, or called cost segregation. So I encourage you all to research this. And it's essentially writing off losses against your active income. So owning rental properties allows you to write off a tremendous amount of losses. So the way you want to do this, to the listeners out there, is when you're owning assets, so create a wholesaling business to have liquidity, use that liquidity as down payments for low interest fixed rate debt against affordable real estate. Affordable housing real estate is the strongest asset class. You don't want to be too in the rough neighborhoods, and certainly you don't want to be in too high end where you're not going to create a cash flow. But when you're using leverage, good leverage to own these assets, then you're going to write off the losses against these rental properties against your wholesaling income. That's how it works. So it's this balance. So what I see a lot of new wholesalers or just in young people. And by the way, I love the young people. We go to CG now. That's where I hang. I'm hanging with the 20-year-olds. They're my favorite people to be around. I think a biggie is kind of just what we're talking about, where all they do is wholesale and they're phenomenal at it. But if they're not taking the time to understand how to acquire and hang on to some assets, you could find yourself now in your 30s looking back like, heck, what if I would have held on to some of those houses? The biggest regret I see from real estate investors is I wish I would have held on to more. You've heard it in your business as well. Would you agree?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I'm just like you. I remember back in 08, 09 buying houses for $10,000 and now they're selling for 200. It's crazy. I wish that we would have held on those. And I think I sold them for 13, So, so definitely that's crazy.
But also I'll share this. I mean, but you had to sell it for 13 because you had to keep the lights on. There's this dance that we play, there's always, hindsight's always, 2020. You can look back and say, "Oh, I wish."
I wish I would have bought Bitcoin 10 years ago.
Well, I don't know about that. But so the biggest thing that I have for young people is this: find a mentor that you align with your core values, and instead of add as much value to this mentor as you possibly can and expect nothing in return except for the knowledge that you're going to gain. Like I had mentioned, I had a guy, Steve, and I used to put out signs for Steve, with Steve, we buy houses signs because he was my lender. So if you're just getting started, forget about all the stuff we're talking about, cost segregation, financing, ninja loans, this and that. Just find a mentor. Find somebody like Brett. Find somebody like myself that you align your core values with, and then approach them and add as much value to this person as you possibly can, and expect nothing in exchange except for the training and the learning. Because it's not going to happen from one podcast. You're not going to listen to this podcast and then automatically figure it out. Yeah. You've got to find a mentor. You got to add as much value to them as you give first, right? Give first, and then, see what comes out of that. But it work for free. That's advice for a young person. Like, be okay working for free. Life is not all Instagram reels and, the hot car. A lot of that is debt anyway. I mean, you see people where, maybe they have a lot of stuff. Well, think about this. Somebody who's a big time wholesaler who doesn't own a lot of assets, think about it. Maybe they're wholesaling a ton, they're generating a ton of cash. Well, they're going to have a huge tax bill on that. And if they're just using that cash to not acquire assets, but to acquire stuff, well, that stuff is going down in value, not up in value.
I call it crap, actually.
Okay, fair. I don't know the extent of what we're allowed to get away with. I call it something else.
You can say it too. But I want to ask you this. So you just put out a video on Facebook, and it was actually about you got to add value. And you were talking to people about you got to add value. And I know that's big. Actually, I was looking at your email, and like one of your emails is always add value. So when I think of Dave, like you've been preaching this for years. Like you have to add value. So the young person out there, you said, stop working for money, work for free, or work to learn. Yeah. Right? Learning, it's going to be so much further for the rest of your life than working for that paycheck. Like, what are some other ways that a young person can add value now?
Well, first off, to continue the conversation on working for free, a young person must realize, and even it's not even just young people, everybody needs to realize consumption is not production, right? You must be a producer of value. You must produce. You must, you can't sit around all day and hope something's going to happen, right? Hope is not a business model or a strategy. So ways to add value. If there's a local landlord or a local real estate entrepreneur, be willing to do anything for them. Be their assistant, be their administrative assistant, be willing to work and produce results. Don't, it's so foolish to just approach anyone. And I'm sure people have approached you as well, Brett, where it's like, hey, I want to learn from you. I want to take you out for coffee. You want to take me out for coffee? I don't want your coffee. I mean, yeah, okay, that's not production, right? What can you do for me? I'm not trying to sound like, some evil business person where it's like, what can you do for me? But a young person should approach an entrepreneur that way. What can I do for you? How can I add value to you rather than, I want to take you out for coffee and pick your brain. When I hear pick your brain, I hear waste my time.
Yeah,
right?
You're like, might as well just pick my. You're like, I might as well just pick my butt.
Exactly right. Oh, I want to pick your brain. Well, okay, what do you want to pick my brain on? What could you possibly want to pick my brain about? It's such a terrible way to approach an entrepreneur. Instead, approach them and say, what can I do for you? I admire what you've been able to accomplish. I want to learn more from you, but I'm not approaching you in such a way where, hey, let me pick your brain and will you teach me? Absolutely not. What can I do for you? Right? How can I add value to you, to your enterprise? I'll go get your car washed for you. I'll do anything for you. I just want to be here every single day at 8 a.m. and you tell me what to do and I'm going to do it for you. You add enough value, that entrepreneur is going to give you the whole world, give you everything.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for checking out the Brett Snodgrass channel. If you like this video, please slam on that like button. And if you really like it, then subscribe to our channel here. And remember to leave us a comment below, and I'm going to try my hardest to reply to all the comments. Thank you guys so much. This is why I do what I do. Every single week, I come out with content that focuses on success, freedom, and living out your purpose. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.